it's not day 15, it's day 16 of NaNoWRIMO. How did that happen? NaNoWRIMO is more than halfway over. That's insane. I like forget that I always high five this lens and I never clean it. The past few days have been pretty crazy. Actually, this entire NaNoWRIMO has been pretty crazy because I have completely changed my outline. Like I said in the last vlog, I changed my outline a lot and that kind of screwed me up, not gonna lie, because as you guys all know, I'm obsessed with outlines and following my outline. And if I don't follow my outline or I change my outline last minute, I'm like, I don't even know how to write anymore. So redoing my outline and having to like write thousands of words into my outline after my outline was, I thought, completed has really taken away a lot of time that I would have spent writing, which means that I might lose NaNoWRIMO. I am so serious. I might actually lose NaNoWRIMO. It's day 16 and I have a little over 18,000 words. Do you realize what that means? That means that normally the average person who's going by the actual like goal of the 50,000 words would have over 25,000 by this point. So I'm either gonna write like really fast and a lot more words in the second half of the month, or I'm going to be okay with just writing a lot in December and maybe even January and not really care about meeting my 50,000 word goal. A lot of you, I think, have already probably reached your goal of the whole month, like the whole 50,000 words. I know that when I wrote 100 Days of Sunlight, my baby, I had reached 50,000 words on day 14, and that was just such a great time. But every book is different. Every book is different. I have to keep reminding myself of that and not fall into comparing myself with 100 Days of Sunlight because I do that a lot. Like seriously, confession time. I compare almost every writing experience I have with 100 Days of Sunlight because I loved writing this book so much and it felt so inspired that now every time I write a book, I'm like, this doesn't feel like when I wrote 100 Days of Sunlight. Of course it doesn't. It's a different book, Abby. I can't reason with myself on that because it's a feeling, you know, these emotional things are just like, they're emotional and it's hard to reason with yourself. Wow, that got really vulnerable really fast. So I've never really felt like I compare myself with other writers. There may have been a time when I did, and I just can't remember, but I feel like that's something that I personally overcome. And I actually made a video about it a long time ago, how to stop comparing yourself to other writers. Check that out if you struggle with that, because you're definitely not alone. A lot of people do struggle with that, and I feel like I probably did at some point, but now I feel like I don't compare myself with other writers. I do mumble a lot. Sorry, YouTube. The difficulty that I find I run into is comparing myself too much with other things that I tell myself were better than what I'm currently doing. This is a lesson that I'm still learning. In my meditation video that I posted recently, I say my writing affirmations, and one of the affirmations is, I don't compare myself with others, I only compare myself to my past self. And that's so good and so powerful, and I love that because it's really good to use the past as a measure for how far you've come, and to look at it as, look how much I've progressed from last year. I'm a better writer. That's another one of the affirmations. I'm a better, stronger writer now than I was at this time last year. And just seeing that progress and saying that progress is so important, to feel like you're actually going somewhere, right? You have to feel like you're advancing and you're making progress and you're going somewhere, otherwise you're gonna give up. I find that when I make something and I love it a lot, like 100 Days of Sunlight, which I love a lot. It's my heart and soul, and it's just like everything about it, when I was writing it, came out so effortlessly. So now every time I write a book, And I feel like it's not the carbon copy same experience I had when writing 100 Days of Sunlight. I now am like, is it as good? So that's something that I felt with this book that I'm currently writing, this NaNoWRIMO. First of all, just from a technical standpoint, I have not written as quickly as I did with 100 Days of Sunlight because I redid my outline. That writing process is not going to repeat itself ever again, which is kind of sad to think about, but every time you create something, it's going to be a different experience. That sounds like so dumb and obvious, but it is actually really profound for some reason to me. Maybe you're trying to repeat the same creative process you had with a book that you wrote that you really loved, or it could be also the opposite. Maybe last time you wrote a book, it was terrible and you had a terrible time writing it, and maybe the book itself wasn't terrible, but you just struggled a lot writing it. That experience is gonna stick in your mind, and now when you go to write a new book, you're gonna think to yourself, your subconscious rather, is going to think to itself, this is gonna be just like the last time. So good or bad, that can actually be a vice both ways. Because if you previously had a really good experience and now you're sitting down to write another book and you're like, oh, it's gonna be just like last time, and then it's not. Not that it's bad, but it's just different because every book is different, every creation is different. Your brain is gonna be like, oh my gosh, it will never be that way again. And yeah, that's something that you have to accept. That's something that I'm trying to currently accept. And then the opposite is also true. If you had a really bad writing experience last time and now you're going into a new book and you're like, this is not gonna be good, that fear is going to stop you from making something that could have been beautiful. So don't let that stop you. So easy to say. It's so easy to say. A little bit harder to put into practice, but it really is a practice, and it's something that you have to tell yourself every time you sit down to write, just like the affirmations. The affirmations are great. Don't compare yourself with others, only compare yourself with your past self, but don't compare your current project with your past project because they are two different things. They cannot be compared. It's an ongoing process to let go of the thing that you made that you loved and be like, this book is this book, and that's going over there now because that is published and I'm working on a new book and it's a different experience, but it is all good. Let's go smash some words. I didn't write a whole lot yesterday. It was kind of a weird day. I had to catch up on a bunch of things that kind of fell by the wayside because of NaNoWRIMO, like it always does. So that kind of took up my whole day yesterday, and today I'm kind of practicing a bit of self-care by taking like half of the day off, which is something that I don't usually do. I'm going to try to write later on today when I get back home this afternoon. Hang out with a cup of tea on a Sunday, cozy Sunday. It's freezing cold out.
I called out one day just to hear a sound. Someone still around. Heard me calling. She heard me say her name, but she hides away. Called out today, but she hides away.
So yeah, there's a snowstorm outside. Not sure how I feel about that. Kind of mixed emotions. I think snow is really pretty, but at the same time, it's like so annoying. Yeah, so I kind of don't belong here in Vermont because we have pretty much just 3 seasons. No, I guess we have 4, but we don't have spring. Like, we just have winter, which lasts from November, really like the end of October to the end of April. And then mud season, which lasts pretty much just May. May is mud season. And then summer is June, July, and August, but June is not really very warm, like, ever. And then there's fall, which is September and October. So half the year pretty much is winter, and the rest is nice, I guess, but it's hard to forgive winter. Okay, yeah, so NaNoWriMo, it's day 19, I think. I can usually touch my Fitbit with my nose. Yes, it's day 19. This week has definitely not been easy for me. For writing and just personal things, but I'm trying to just push through the fog of everything and write and try not to be too critical of my writing, because I tend to be like really critical and like very perfectionistic, which is like dumb, obviously, because all writing needs editing, and I don't know why I expect it to come out of my head perfect. I guess every writer probably has that to some degree, and you just have to like shut off the inner critic in your mind. But that's like really hard to do. Like, I don't know how to do it. If you want to leave some tips in the comments, any tips or techniques, anything that would be helpful to a person who has a really hard time shutting off their inner critic, do it for me. Do it for other people who are like me out there watching this video right now. So yeah, normally I would be really close to hitting my word count. But as I said at the beginning of this vlog, I might not even hit my word count, like technically lose NaNoWriMo, because I am focusing less on word count this time around and more on writing a story that feels good to me. Like, that's really the ultimate goal. Like, it has to feel good to you when you're writing it. To me, what is so cool about NaNoWriMo and what has always attracted me about it is not so much that we come together and we write all these words, but that we show up. Like, that's it. Just the perseverance aspect of it, that you show up every day and you write, even if you don't feel like it. Even if it's 200 words, even if it's 20 words. It doesn't have to be 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 words a day. Like, I mean, if you're doing that, that's awesome. Go you. But if you're not, go you. You know? There's no right or wrong. Just show up. Show up for yourself. And that's the hard part, is just opening the document and writing something. And don't worry if it's hardly anything. It's something because you showed up and you put in the work. And that's what's always inspired me about NaNoWriMo and what has always attracted me to it. And that's why I do it to this day. And that's why I can sit here on the internet, on YouTube, and tell you to your face that I might not win NaNoWriMo and I might not hit 50,000 words, and I'm okay with that, because what I'm really trying to do here is show up for myself and show up for my art and write a story that matters to me. And what am I gonna have to dig up inside of my psyche and my brain to make this emotional and to make this personal and to make this something that will impact someone else and maybe even change their lives. So on that giant, like, philosophical note, what has your NaNoWriMo been like? How is it going for you in your world, your writing world? Comment below, tell me all the things, give me updates on your book, where you're at. It's okay if you are not at some astronomical word count number, neither am I, so you are in good company. Take care of yourself. And keep writing, keep showing up for yourself, and smash that like button if you liked this vlog. Next week's vlog is going to be more fun because I want to do a few fun things that I'm not going to tell you about yet, and do like fun B-roll of them. Right now I'm just kind of snowed in and trying to make the most of it by drinking lots of tea and writing. So until then, until next week, keep writing, my friends, and rock on.